Day 57 in the gogmazios waiting room. At this point, I'm not sure what's real. Are you gogmazios? Am I gogmazios? Are we gogmazios?
Is this guy okay?
Hello, my fellow hunters! How are you doing? I hope you're having a lovely December so far, and I hope that you are leading up to a lovely Christmas, or whatever it is that you do towards the end of the month. Also, to any of you that has us in the your most watched channel thing that I keep getting shown to me, that's really, really sweet, and I appreciate it immensely. We all do. But what I don't appreciate immensely is still being in gogmazios limbo. Thankfully, though, I can help make that pain just a little bit less because we do actually have a couple of new things and details to talk about. Like a very recent the PlayStation Partner Awards dev interview with Ryozo and Tokuda-san. And there's some lovely little tidbits. And beyond that, we have some new guild report action too. But of course, the big question in the air is, where is the showcase that's going to show, like, Title Update 4 properly and the trailer and all of its contents? Where is it? I still totally believe that it made sense to be last week. Now, technically, as I am recording this, there's still a little bit of this week left, so if something changes, I'll insert it here. Oh my god, it actually happened! I mean, I knew it would happen because, as I said in my last video, it's definitely going to be a showcase this week. And by that, I obviously meant a showcase date reveal this week. Yeah. In any case, that's nice though, isn't it? Before we get into talking about the new stuff that we can talk about, we have this. The showcase for Title Update 4 is happening on Monday, i.e. tomorrow, probably, depending on when this goes up. I think it's tomorrow. In any case, yes, it's happening on December the 8th, and that's very, very cool. It's going to specifically cover Monster Hunter Stories 3 and Title Update 4. And they have specified that very specifically it will only focus on Title Update 4 when it comes to Wilds. So, is that just random phrasing, or is there something to read into there, like, because a different event will do other Wilds things? Who knows? In any case, that's happening. That's very cool. Let's carry on with the show. Starting then once more with the guild reports, because we've had some new ones. Yes, indeed. Now, there are these that we had before that we've already gone over, the whole gogma artian weapons. There was a lot of fun little thoughts and theories from you guys on how this will actually take place. Absolutely loved to read them. But as you can see, yeah, so, and get ready for this. Items in the item pouch cannot be discarded on the supply items confirmation window. So that's gonna be added. Oh, holy quality of life! Okay, look, it's nice, right? It's always nice to get any kind of quality of life, but it's not exactly going to be the most earth-shattering experience change for anyone playing the game, but hey, all of these little things do add up. Like Nata's material retrieval feature getting more information, and that more information is going to look like this, so you can actually see what it is you're taking all, categorized, and how much you're getting, which again is nice to have that information and see what amounts you're pulling in to see if you might want to make any adjustments to who you've got farming what. Then we've got item usage while riding a secret will be updated so items are not cancelled when the secret automatically dodges. Again, not like a crazy frequent thing or a huge gameplay issue, but just nice to have that addressed for those that did find themselves constantly upset by it. Then I love this one. Handler will be updated to no longer push hunters around in photo mode. That's so funny to me. It's like, oh, you've got a lovely picture lined up? It'd be a shame if you were to be off frame now. Hi, I'm Alma. In any case, yeah, that is kind kind of annoying, and I'm glad that that's no longer going to happen. The big one, though, from this is this. Event quests for 9-star tempered monsters such as Doshagama will be added. Yes, new 9-star tempered, and in this instance, Doshagama. Now, he does deserve it. He's like the Anjanath of Wilds, and I think him absolutely amped up without a ridiculous amount of wounds would be an incredibly satisfying fight, and I'm really, really excited for that. It will actually make his wound reopening mechanic a lot more meaningful when he's not just getting constantly covered in wounds anyway, so I think he's a particularly good target for the 9-star system. So that means we now have 9-star Doshagama and 9-star Rathalos. Likely there will be a third, because we got a trio of them with Title Update 3 and so on, so watch this space, and I hope that it is, of course, Chatacabra. In any case then, let's get on to the interview. Usual little caveat that this is a translated interview, so some meanings might not be one-to-one, but the general gist of the information is here. So again, this happened on December 3rd, it was the PlayStation Partner Awards, and we got to have Ryozo and Tokuda-san have a little bit of a chat about Monster Hunter and some broader topics too. In any case then, this is because they actually got an award at the show, which of course is also really, really good. They got the Grand Award, which I'm going to assume is the big boy of the awards here, so that does make me happy. If only because as much as I'm biased and Wilds is my game of the year, the performance issues do kind of bar it from being actual game of the year, as much as it does hurt to say that. In any case, in light of receiving this award, what are you proud of as a development team? We apologise for the inconvenience we caused immediately after release of Wilds due to the volume of content and server issues. So they themselves have admitted that in hindsight there wasn't actually enough to do at the base launch of Wilds, which is really interesting to read because on one hand, as a long-time Monster Hunter hunterer, I can see that, right? The treadmill wasn't 75 miles long, as sometimes it tends to be. But for like an average person just picking up this game, there was certainly a massive amount of hourage here, but yeah, there certainly wasn't the usual kind of endgame we expect even in a base high-rank title. And the server issues, the performance issues, we know all of that. It's been talked about to death at this point. We're still waiting on Title Update 4 to give us those meaningful upgrades in that department, and they will be judged when that happened. We'd like to thank all of our users for their kind words of support. Even in these difficult times, our team has turned these comments into motivation and is working hard on the update, and we believe that this has paid off. That's really, really cool. Hopefully Title Update 4 really does live up to the already massive legend that it is generating for itself. It's been about 9 months since the game was released. How do you feel about response since its release? With the release of Monster Hunter Wilds, we received a variety of feedback from users, one of the characteristics of the series that we continue to update it even after release, and the feedback has been extremely helpful. We are also working hard on future title updates. That's interesting. That's a curious piece of information. That's a titillating line of text. Future title updates? Do they mean specifically Title Update 4, because this is technically still a future title update at the time of this interview, but that would be a bit weird phrasing, but again, it's a translation, so that might be the cause of it, but you could certainly take this to mean that there are title updates beyond 4, which would make sense. We're expecting 5 based on the precedent that World, Iceborne, and Sunbreak set, though, as I've talked about in a recent video, there is definitely arguments to be made for Title Update 4 being the last title update, but this is certainly a decent point in the it's not the last title update camp, unless they're talking about whatever will inevitably add the weapon design winner, and presumably, hopefully, still an arch-tempered arkveld. It would be so strange to get the end of Wilds' life cycle without that happening, but either way, that's an exciting thing to hear/read. How did you balance measures to attract new users with a game system that would satisfy existing fans? We analysed data where beginners get stuck, including our previous game, Monster Hunter World. We've created an environment that makes it much easier for new players to complete the game. I think some people would argue too easy, certainly in low rank, and certainly at the start of the game's life cycle in general, and you could also argue that that's perhaps being too overcorrected with how brutal some of the newer editions, your 9-star, 5 stars, your Savage Omega, Omega, etc. have been, though I personally really, really love it. Added features such as focus mode that benefit existing users because you got a lot of layers to them, you can get quite complex, and generally just talking about how user-friendliness was a focus of WoW's. Some parts that existing users felt were a little lacking in those areas. They are mentioning that themselves, especially the challenge level of difficulty, and they hope that those who completed the game immediately after release and haven't played again will get excited for the next update, which does make me very curious where they're actually aiming Gogmazios in terms of difficulty. You would assume he's going to be ironically less than Omega because, well, the crossover monsters are like peak brutal difficulty status, but at the same time that would be a little bit anticlimactic. Of course, we could have base Gogmazios that's just a nice, challenging, but, you know, very manageable fight, and then a super 9-5 whatever tempered version that is just pain, and that seems likely and what I hope they do go with. What promotions are you focusing on outside the game? Outside the game, we also emphasize real-life events. We've held time attacks in North America and Europe, and the Monster Hunter Festa, and we'll have a Hunting King tournament, which I think might be a translation thing, and it's going to be a promotion next year. Indeed, there is more festas coming up, more Monster Hunter Championships coming up, and we'll actually have a new championship practice qualifying round event quest soon after Title Update 4, which I think is really, really neat. It is just nice to see these events happening. They're very just lovely, wholesome coming togethers of Monster Hunter fans in the community, especially the France Festa. It just looks wonderful, and I so wish I could have been there. I hope one day to actually go to one. Can you tell us about future developments in the series and new challenges you're taking on? We don't intend to stop here as a series. We intend to continue with Monster Hunter series for a while longer. I wish that just said infinitely. While longer feels not long enough for my likings, but, you know, translation. Of course they're going to keep Monster Hunter going. It is their most successful current game series, and that's for very, very good reason. Above all, we want to do our best, as many people to play as possible. And we want to continue with the game, but we also want to think about various developments outside of the game that will expand the potential of the Monster Hunter IP. This is very, very fun to see. Of course, you could go crazy with that and think non-game things, you know, like the Monster Hunter movie, or like the crossovers we're seeing with various other media, or the kind of currently disastrous Magic the Gathering one that I'm glad they're redoing, because what was that? And eventually, a lot of this does spread that awareness. But does it also include spin-off games, the mobile side of things, Outlanders, or even stories itself? In any case, you certainly won't say no to more Monster Hunter things going on, and I love that this is a goal for them. The collaboration with Final Fantasy has also been a hot topic. How do you feel about the reaction and completion rate? We designed title updates that are enjoyable for a wide range of people and for the core users. For Mega Planet Test, so we created its content that allows players to enjoy highly challenging actions that cannot be achieved with regular Monster Hunter monsters. I mean, yeah, the clear rate was generally as expected, 3%! But there were more people than expected who tried it alone, and we were surprised how quickly the clear time was. I assume that counts as alone, but with support hunters, in which case that makes sense, because they were actually really, really effective in that. But I love that they use a crossover as an excuse to do mechanics that you can't really do with a regular monster, and that both is a justification and makes sense. Lets them stretch their wings a little bit without kind of breaking the rules of the Monster Hunter universe, and I think Behemoth walked so that Savage Omega could run in that regard, and for me it was just a phenomenally successful hunt. Is there anything that you would like users to look forward to in terms of future additional content or improvements? Here we go. We're adding Gogmazios as an additional monster in the upcoming title update. Yep, it's a monster that's very challenging to play with, and the reward system is interesting. Of course, the new Gogma Artian, and so on. And the challenging there is also good to read. I do want Gogmazios to feel like a proper big deal threat to, if it is the last title update, cap off Wilds, but if it's not, to lead into the true final title update with with a plum. We also plan to add other challenging quests from time to time, like the 9-star monsters, like the doshagama, and then we'll also be making adjustments to various weapon types. So this is a confirmation of the weapon changes coming in Title Update 4. We plan to adjust the controls for guard weapons in general, and the insect glaive. So of course your lance, your gunlance, does that extend to greatsword? Maybe? We're also planning improvements to make the game more convenient for players who play repeatedly, so look forward to that. That's interesting too, so quality of life for, you know, mass playing. So yeah, a lot of nice little things to read here. Monster Hunter is going to continue for a long time, maybe more title updates, weapon changes are coming, more challenging monsters, they're feeling over the roller coaster that Wilds has been so far, and it's just always nice to hear their thoughts and read their obvious passion for Monster Hunter. It's obviously not going anywhere anytime soon, and I really do think Title Update 4 is going to do a lot for the game in a very, very big way. So what do you guys think? Which of these answers has got you most excited? Let me know. But for now, we return to the waiting for gogmazios, the waiting for information, the waiting for fun. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more, consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.